For the 30th Sunday in Ordinary Time, in some way we continue the theme from last week of prayer. Maybe not so much unceasingly, but the posture of the heart with humility and poverty. And it shows up particularly in the first reading, the Psalm and the Gospel reading. And it might just zero in on that, humility and poverty, and coming before the Lord with the recognition that we have nothing, and in our persistence in prayer, continue this idea. What does the persistence in prayer do? It expands our hearts for the things that we long for. And it's all the more effective when we have already a certain emptiness in us, that I have nothing to offer you, Lord. I have nothing. I have nothing but what you've given me. And an open space in my heart to receive whatever it is that you wish to give. I spoke last week at some point, not necessarily even in the video, but in some of my homilies about what our prayer does for us in expanding our hearts. It's like God wants us to expand our hearts by our longing for the good thing that we desire, to make a space big enough to encapsulate Him. And it's like that's not even possible, and that's in our humility, to recognize that it's not possible, but also in our humility to recognize that God still desires to do it. God still desires to fill us with all of Himself. We can only do that when we come to Him not full of ourselves, not full of it, but completely empty and unburdened by our own, pride, so as to be completely dependent on Him. Coming before Him with nothing and in all humility to recognize God's desire is to fill us with His very self. All goodness, far beyond even what we asked for in the first place, infinitely greater than anything we could ever want, anything we could ever ask for, is what God wants to give.